This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Saudi Aramco, the world's biggest crude oil exporter, has cut its January 2025 prices for Asian buyers to the lowest level since early 2021, it said on Sunday, as weak demand from top importer China weighs on the market. Aramco cut the official selling price, OSP, for flagship Arab Light crude by 80 cents to 90 cents per barrel above the Oman, Dubai benchmark average, the producer said in its price list for buyers. The Arab Light OSP is the lowest since January 2021 when global demand was hit by the coronavirus pandemic, but is still considerably above prices seen at the peak of the Saudi-Russia market share war in 2020, when the grade sold at a discount of as much as $5.90 a barrel, Reuters data showed.
Oil prices climbed on Monday after the fall of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's regime introduced greater uncertainty to the Middle East, although the gains were capped by a waning demand outlook for the coming year. Brent crude futures rose 36 cents, or 0.51%, to $71.48 per barrel by 0723 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 37 cents, or 0.55%, to $67.57 per barrel. Syrian rebels announced on state television on Sunday they had ousted President al-Assad, eliminating a 50-year family dynasty in a lightning offensive that raised fears of a new wave of instability in a region already gripped by war.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Igor Sechin, the head of Russia's largest oil producer Rosneft, on Saturday said he approved of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's proposals to defend domestic energy producers. Speaking at a conference in Qatar, he said that Trump's promises during his election campaign involved fitting economic measures, including protecting domestic energy producers and the market. Trump's return to the White House on January 20 is viewed with cautious optimism by some in Russia, though others in Moscow think another U.S. president will change little. Russia's ties with the United States under the Joe Biden administration tanked to a post-Cold War low over a number of issues, including the conflict in Ukraine.
Nominations for natural gas flows into Slovakia from Ukraine on Monday were steady versus Sunday levels, data from transmission system operator Ustream showed. Nominations for flows to Austria from Slovakia were also roughly in line with levels seen in the past days, as well as nominations to the Czech Republic from Slovakia. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices gained on Monday, with support from top consumer China's central bank resuming gold purchases after a 6-month hiatus, while investors awaited U.S. inflation data this week for clues into the Federal Reserve's next move. Spot gold gained 0.5% at $2,646.69 per ounce, as of 0741 GMT. U.S. gold futures were up 0.3% to $2,668.20. Gold is supported by headlines that China's central bank resumed purchasing gold in November, which could be good news for gold bulls, in knowing that they have the People's Bank of China behind them to underpin some strength for bullion prices. IG market strategist Yip Junrong said.
London copper prices edged lower on Monday as uncertainty over any fresh stimulus signals from China's leaders this month weighed on sentiment. Data showing persistent disinflationary pressures in the metal's top consumer China also soured the mood. The 3-month copper contract on the London Metal Exchange shed 0.4% to $9,160 per metric ton, as of 0731 GMT. The most traded January copper contract on the Shanghai Futures Exchange was up 0.3% to 74,740 yuan, $10,269.30.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Indonesia will import 900,000 metric tons of food-grade corn and 3.4 million tons of raw sugar in 2025, Senior Minister overseeing Food Affairs Zulkifli Hassan said on Monday, adding that imports were only for industrial raw materials. The import announcement comes as Indonesia has set a target to reach food self-reliance in the next 4 years under the presidency of Prabowo Subianto, who took office in October. Indonesia has already said that next year it may not import rice, a staple food in the Southeast Asian country of about 280 million people. However, if imports were needed, it would likely be a small amount of rice depending on supplies, said Zulkifli.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.